Hello and welcome to the free virtual assistant masterclass. I am so happy you're here because I have so much to talk about and share about. If you don't know who I am, don't worry. I'm going to quickly do an introduction, but before that, I'm going to just give the ladies that aren't here just a couple more minutes to log in and join us. In the meantime, I am going to share my screen because a masterclass is not complete without a presentation. So just give me a second here. All right. Okay, let's do this. So in the next 60 minutes, I'm going to teach you how you can start and launch your very own virtual assistant business that can and will replace your current income with the skills you already have. Like, you don't need to go and learn more skills. You don't need to buy tens of thousands of dollars of a course. I know there's so many courses out there. I know it's so overwhelming, this entire online space, the way you can make money, which freaks a lot of people out because they're like, well, what the hell? Just to start a business, I need to go and learn all this stuff in order how to run that business. And then I need to invest thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, to be honest, into courses, into like all these training systems, and you're like, I don't got time for that, right? Which is why I personally love the virtual assistant industry, and this has been the number one side hustle, the fastest side hustle that is currently growing, that is making women rich. And it's mainly because you can start with the skills you already have. And I'm going to explain that. But before we do that, I want you to be so proud of yourselves and honestly, just give yourself a pat on the back. Because I'm serious. Like, you showing up today, you already did a lot. Because I get so many DMs and comments on my social media, TikTok, Instagram, like, I'm so interested. How do I start? I really want to do this. This would be a dream come true. I really want to learn. Like, I'm so interested. How do I start? But no one takes action. They, no one is showing up because they now know they have to put in the work. They have to do the work. I am here literally showing up on social media every single day. I do give you the information. I am giving everyone the steps, and that's why they keep DMing me and leaving comments like, I'm so interested. This is a dream come true. I want to do this. But again, no one wants to put in the work. So the fact that you're here, you're watching this, you just took time. This masterclass is going to be an hour long. I won't take too much of your time, just 1 hour. The fact that you showed up for yourself to try this, to learn about an opportunity, you're already ahead of a lot of people. So I want you to feel so proud. And I really want you to drop a yes and down in the comments because just put it out in the universe that, you know what? I am going to do this. This is going to work for me. Just put it out in the universe and watch all the things that happen. So, a little bit about my story before I became a virtual assistant. I know a lot of you guys are interested because so many people think I had so much experience, like I already knew how to run a business and all that, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Like when I first started, I was a part-time server making $14 an hour. I was a paralegal, and yep, your girl was a hustler. And I was a full-time university student, literally drowning in debt. I was furthering my education while I was a paralegal. Now, I would only pick up serving shifts on weekends I could, but I still was, I guess you can say, on-call server. And I do have a little picture. So if you're not Canadian, you might not know what white spot is, or that we had a car in service or a dine-in situation going on. So I was a car hop, which is pretty much you can eat in your car. And I literally had no knowledge of what a virtual assistant was. Like when I first came across a TikTok, I was like, what the hell? A virtual assistant? Like it did make sense to me because I put two and two together. Virtual assistant. You'll be an assistant, but virtually. Like me being a paralegal and working with legal assistants, I was like, okay, so we have a bunch of legal assistants in my office. This is going to be an assistant, but virtually. I was like, oh, I get to work from home. I was like, okay, awesome. I get to work from home. I don't have to commute. This will save me so much time. And like, I didn't know all of this was going to happen. And when I say all of this is literally what I mean. I was a solo freelancer averaging around 30 plus dollars an hour. This was the very beginning. My first client paid me $32 an hour to literally just reply to emails. Like, that is so crazy. And quickly, I was able to scale to 10K months. That's when my entire life flipped. And I was like, what the hell? Like, I want to do this. I want to keep growing this. And today, I run my own virtual assistant agency and I have successfully trained over 500 women. So much more, but we're just rounding it up to 500 women from all over the world. I know a lot of people have questions. Well, I'm from here. Can I do this? I'm Canadian. Can I do this? I'm also Canadian, so yes, you can do this. Can you do this outside of the States, like UK? Yes, you can. There's so many virtual assistants from literally India, Japan, China. They're all over the world. We're literally taking the world over the world, and I could not be more excited, especially in 2026. Forbes announced that the virtual assistant is literally the fastest growing industry ever. Literally ever. And it's predicted to cross $50 billion. So this space has so much money, even till this day. I know some people think, oh my God, am I behind? Like there's already so many VAs. No, because VAs support business owners, businesses that are also starting. Do you know that in the US alone, there's at least 200 to 500 businesses that start every hour, and that's just in the States. Isn't that crazy? And all of those will need a virtual assistant, which is what I'm going to explain to you. So, before that, let's talk about why will this work for you? Because that is literally one of the questions. And I always say anyone can become a virtual assistant with skills they already have. And I do mean it because I am going to share a couple student wins. My student, Bridge, she was a hotel receptionist. She was working 7 to 4 long, crazy hours. She had a toxic environment, staff was really toxic, and the workspace was just not it. It was a very high demand with low pay. Like they were asking so much of her that she literally felt like she was doing so much, overworking and getting underpaid. She was drained and mentally exhausted. And this is what she sent me after starting a virtual assistant business and running it for less than 6 months. Like she hasn't even taken her business fully, and she literally said, we're consistent at $4,000 a month. She doubled her receptionist salary from her laptop, which she thinks is crazy. And I'm like, I've been there. And the fact that she doesn't have a boss, so no toxic environment, no toxic staff, there's no set hours, because a lot of the things that she did struggle with was that it was long hours and she just wanted to leave that environment in that world. So the virtual assistant was the complete opposite. She had so much freedom and she was making a lot more. And she also booked her and her husband's Japan trip. It was fully funded by her, which is so crazy. And honestly, I love seeing student wins and winning in general. And my another student, Kyla, she was a medical assistant. She had no degree when she became a medical assistant, which I thought was so crazy. And she was working very long hours. She was mentally drained also. And she never really took time off without at least feeling guilty. Like even sick days, she would feel so guilty, but her body just couldn't. Like she physically couldn't get out of bed, but she felt so guilty that she is stuck in bed. Because again, like we get it. Like people feel guilty, and sometimes people around you, like your coworkers, make you feel guilty. Your boss makes you feel guilty. And she was living with her parents because, again, she was living paycheck to paycheck, and she thought like this job would just never support her if she did ever move up. But last week, she literally gave her notice. And now she's taking this part-time business that she originally started into a full-time career. And she literally signed one of her highest client, which is a dermatologist, for $2,000 a month on a full year contract, which means this whole year she doesn't have to work with any new clients, but she is getting $2,000 a month from this dermatologist, one single client that she has. And she's working less than 2 hours a week for this person, for this dermatologist inside their business, which means she has so much more time to maybe to get another client, or literally just have one or two more clients. She'll be around $6,000 and she doesn't need to work. So imagine if she's working 2 hours, if she signs two more clients for the same package, that's 6K, and she's only working less than 7 hours a week. She can do so much more with her time. Another client or student of mine is Emma. She's also a paralegal, and my story just kind of connected with her. And she's like, you know what? Like, you've been a paralegal. I'm a paralegal. I really want to do this. She already knows this works for a paralegal because she saw my story. Like, she was also glued to a desk, stressful environment, not being paid enough, and just not feeling valued. And I was like, girl, the last point, I get it. I've been there. And she also signed a $2,200 a month client, which is so amazing. And she still had at that time another two clients that she was talking to. And I did reach out to her after that. And guess what? She signed them. She literally signed them. So she's around making $7,000 to $8,000 as a virtual assistant, ex-paralegal, and she is quitting her job. So, which means she was doing this part-time still, and she's at $7,000, which is crazy. And then I have another student come in, and she's a uni student. And like she's never worked professionally. She did a bunch of part-time jobs, but never like a full-time office assistant executive or any type of job. She never worked like that because obviously she is still in school and she can't commit to a full-time job. However, she was already stressing about the job market because even if you're a graduate, it's just not enough. Like you literally cannot just get a job anymore right after uni. But she literally had two discovery calls. She started her business back in January. So in less than 2 months, she already had two discovery calls and they both signed her. And she's now working with beauty med spa clients and both of them signed on. And then I believe it's $1,000 a month per package. So she's making $2,000 literally just on the side while she's finishing her degree. She said she's gonna take this business full time after her mid, I believe her last semester. But yes, this is what can happen. All of these students literally started from scratch. So why not you? Literally, why not you? Like I said, every single student that I mentioned were here, exactly where you are today. They joined my free masterclass. They literally came and joined my free masterclass, and I showed them what to do. They followed it to the T, and boom, that's just how it is. That's how simple it's going to be. So let's dive in. I am so excited. Here's the agenda for today. I'm going to show you and teach you what a virtual assistant is, how to choose the right skills, how to build your packages and price them, obviously, where to find clients and how to apply, because that is something we all want to know, and that is how we're going to get the money. And also, basically, help you grow to replace your current 9 to 5 income. And I also have a special announcement at the very, very end. So let's dive right in. What is a virtual assistant? You are going to be helping brands, companies, small business owners, whether they have a physical product like clothing brand or anything like that, or they have a service. So my business would be considered a service-based business. A virtual assistant business itself is a service-based business because you don't actually have physical products like a scarf or a comb that you're selling a service, like email management is a service. For me, coaching, it's a service. So you can work with any business owners. You there's no limitation to that you only have to work with either product-based businesses or service-based businesses. And you're basically going to help them with day-to-day tasks for three reasons. One, sim they just don't want to do it. They simply just don't want to do those day-to-day tasks on their own. Or B, they might want to do it, but they just don't have time. Or C, both. Some people do have the time, but they still don't want to do it because it's so time consuming and they have a whole business to run. They would rather spend their time and energy doing on things that are a lot more important than the nitty-gritty stuff, but the nitty-gritty eventually has to get done. So they hire support. They basically outsource stuff they no longer want to do. And that's where a virtual assistant comes in. So, in simple words, a virtual assistant can help a business in two departments. Number one, the back end. Number two, the front end. A virtual assistant is an independent contractor who provides services to clients while operating completely remote. A virtual assistant is not going to be oh my God, sorry about that, is not going to be a salaried employee. You are going to be self-employed. Let me explain. This is not a traditional work from home 9 to job. Here's an example. Remote worker A works for company X. He or she starts at 9 a.m. on the computer provided by the company and has set hours. Literally has a set schedule. 1 hour lunch break. Yes, she does work from home, but she's not a freelance virtual assistant. She could be a VA or an assistant to a company, but she has a 9 to 5 job. At the end of the month, they work for that company and get paid a salary. She is employed by company X. Now, remote worker B works for themselves, meaning they launched their own business and services they created, and they also price their own packages. This remote worker does not have any set hours, so they set their own hours and works with more than one client. So they don't have a company like X that they're working for. He or she is self-employed. He or she registered their business and keeps track of their income, taxes, and has insurance, monthly insurance for healthcare and all that stuff, which means they work from themselves. They're completely self-employed. They are running a business. Another great example for you to completely understand, think of it like a nail tech artist. A nail tech artist could work for a salon that they show up there at a set time and they leave at a set time. And all the clients that are coming to them come to that salon, right? They book appointments to that salon. So this nail tech is just sitting there doing their work, but for that company, on that company's hours, terms, and prices. So they get paid a salary. However, if this exact same nail tech went freelance and opened their own business, doesn't have to be a salon, they can start working from their house, well, from their house. Now, this Nail tech is self-employed. They can start whenever they want. They can get clients directly by using social media, even, right? So that is the difference between working for a company, but from home, and then working for yourself and remote. So, as a VA, you can use your current 9 to 5 skills. You can work from anywhere. So this isn't a work from home job. This is a remote job. There's a big difference, which I just explained. And you can start anywhere from 5 to 10 or 15 hours a week and earn an extra 1 to 3,000 per month without taking this full time, by the way. You get to also create your own schedule. Choose what you want to do as a virtual assistant, which is pretty big. You can also choose who you want to work with. This is what I mean that being a virtual assistant has so much freedom. It's freedom in every department, every aspect you can think of, which is why I love it so much. So let's talk about what does a VA even do? They provide two categories, like I said, backend and upfront. So the backend is mainly administrative tasks, and the upfront of this will be the social media management side. So some examples, you're not limited to any. Let me just say that, right? Because the list, like your potential list of what you can offer in both departments is endless. This is just some examples like email management, calendar management, blog writing, copywriting, general admin tasks, and some social media tasks are like Canva design, course creation, video editing, Pinterest management, community management. All of this is just examples you could potentially offer to business owners and get paid. When I first started, this is what I offered. In the general admin section, I replied to emails. Like I said, my first client literally just wanted me to reply to emails. And then the same client, she was a wedding photographer, which means she traveled for work. So I also booked hotels and flights for her. I managed her calendar, both work and personal calendar, because I needed to know when is the right time for her to take the flight because I didn't want her to have a doctor's appointment or go to a personal event or something. So I needed access to both her calendars. I also responded to her Instagram comments and DMs. I provided client communication in the emails and kept track of their payments and invoices so nothing gets missed. This is the basic task I did for her. And I also did a little bit of social media eventually, scheduling and posting pre-made content, which were her just taking pictures of her clients and just posting them on social media. Again, I was replying to DMs and comments, leaving comments and starting new conversations with potential people that have shown interest and would want to maybe book her or hire her for their wedding. And I did community management mainly for her Facebook group. She had a Facebook community she was running, and I was logging into that Facebook community and just approving posts. And I was also replying if people had any questions and just managing it, keeping the audience engaged. And I already mentioned who I offered this to, wedding photographers who were literally looking to outsource the exact task I was offering. My first client paid me $32 an hour for 10 hours. That's 40 hours a month for $1,600. I'm Canadian, but I was charging USD. So my total came higher than my original price, which is the best part. If you are Canadian and you work with US clients, you can literally charge in USD. So you make a little bonus on every single hour. So this is what my first month looked like. $1,600 my first month working 40 hours a month, 10 hours a week, which is so crazy to me, even now. 2 months. This is me 2 months as a virtual assistant. I signed two new clients for the exact same package, but my new client rate now was $35 an hour. So instead of charging 32, I bumped it to three more dollars and for the exact same package, so 10 hours a week, which is 40 hours a month, and my new total was 1750. Times that by two, that's $3,500 because I signed two new clients for $35 an hour. And then, of course, I had my first client. I did not bump those prices, so she was still paying me $1,600. That made my total over $5,000. My second month as a virtual assistant. And the best part was I was working 30 hours a week, way less than I was making, or sorry, working as a paralegal. As a paralegal, I was working 40 hours a week and making less than $5,000. And the best part about these 30 hours a week is that I could have split them however I wanted. I didn't need to show up Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday, 9 to 5. I could split these 30 hours however I wanted. I could maybe finish them in a day. Maybe couldn't, obviously, but I could have worked 24 hours and then just, the other 6 hours right after that. Or I could have worked 10 hours a day and finished all of the client work in 3 days, if that's 10 hours a day. And the rest I would have just to myself. I could have do anything I wanted. Obviously, I didn't because I still was at my paralegal job. I quit right after this month. So in less than 60 days, I quit being a paralegal because I was making more while working 10 hours less than I normally would, which only meant I signed another client for 10 hours. So I was working 40 hours a week and making around a little less than 7K, which was so crazy to me. And within just 6 months, I was making $10,000 a month. This is when I took my entire business full time. I've left my paralegal job and never even showed up or went to my serving job. And I had graduated um, from university and literally $10,000 a month, which is so crazy. And I want to show you that this is possible because I'm no one special. This has happened to my students as well. So I want to know, what does this tell you? I'll tell you what this tells you. You can literally provide any task you want. You're not limited to anything. You already have skills that businesses are willing to pay for. You don't need to have years of experience professionally, like professional experience. You do not need that. You can start small, work at your own pace, and bring in a solid extra income from your couch. You're in full control. You of like who you work with, how much you work, who you basically, or sorry, what services you offer, what tasks you're going to do, and wherever you want to. Like, where do you want to work from? Your couch, your bed? Do you want to, I don't know, maybe go travel and work? It is literally up to you as long as you keep your laptop with you. You take your laptop, you can literally go anywhere because this is a remote position. This isn't a work from home because a lot of the work from home jobs, they don't even want you to be in a cafe. They want you to be in the designated house or address that you've given to the company. That is another thing that I hate about working from home. And when people think being a virtual assistant is work from home, it's not work from home. It's literally work from anywhere because you're not even limited to the location. You have freedom with your money and location. But now that you know all of this, where do you start? What is the step one? Let's go. Step one is going to be finding your niche. So if you don't know what a niche is, here is how to find your niche before we talk about what a niche is. So there's normally 4 ways to go about this. You can look at your current role, and if you are not working, you can look at your passions or your interest. What excites you? What do you what are you interested in? Or 3, your education. Schooling. What schooling did you take? Did you take a marketing course in college? Anything, right? Or you can invest and learn. I know I said in the beginning this is something that you don't have to invest or learn into, but it is an option still, right? For those of you who can and want to, why not? Why would you not? if you can and you want to. You can learn anything you want. So, finally, what is the niche? Having a niche means having a target group of audience and having a target group of services you offer. Now, let's dive into both of these. So, an audience, the most common audience for a virtual assistant is real estate agents, business coaches, both marketing or sales, experienced VAs or social media managers, agency owners, nail or lash techs, fitness coaches, yoga instructors, literally the list goes on. So you can choose an audience, literally anyone you want to work with. And secondly, is the services. Again, the list is endless, but some are email management, calendar management, social media, content creation, marketing, lead generation, graphic design, copywriting, bookkeeping. Literally, like I said, the list just keeps going on, but you're not limited to any, which is the best part. So you get to pick who do you want to work for and what you want to offer. Now, I know this is like one area a lot of people get confused with because as simple as this may sound, you're confused. You're like, I don't know how to do this. Like, how do I pick my niche? Let's do it together. I'm going to teach you how to choose your target audience and how to choose your target services. So let's say, for example, you want to work with online business coaches. This is just some examples. I literally went on Instagram and typed in online business coach, and this is what popped. These were the first four. I took a screenshot. So these are potential people, if I was starting, that I would probably work with. So I went on Instagram and I typed in business coach, and this is who popped up. So if you want to work with real estate agents, what you're going to do is go on Instagram, type in real estate agent, and whoever pops up, you can follow them and see, okay, this is the potentially the clientele that I'm going to be targeting. And when it comes to services, so choosing an audience is probably easier than services because services, you're like, well, I don't know what service do they need? What services are even out there for me to choose? Because trying to keep saying the list is endless, like, how do I know? So, when it comes to services, we're going to break it down a bit. Instead of focusing on the services, I want you to focus on what role you want to work in as. Even when you're a virtual assistant, you can work in a very specific role. You could be a personal assistant, you could be an admin assistant, you could be an Instagram assistant, you could be a marketing assistant, a copy assistant, a bookkeeping assistant. You don't have to provide every service under the sun. You can niche it down and choose one simple role. So let's say, for example, for this, just for the sake of this video, you want to work as a Instagram assistant. That is the role you want to do. Now, when it comes to services, our list became shorter, became clear, because we are only going to focus on the services a Instagram assistant would offer, not a bookkeeping assistant, not a graphic design assistant, a Instagram assistant. And some tasks would include posting and scheduling content, replying to DMs and comments, writing captions, designing story templates, reel covers, editing reels, researching trends, and just overall daily engagement. A few other examples are, let's say if you want to become a UGC virtual assistant, a TikTok virtual assistant, or a copy assistant, your task would look different. Your services are going to look different. And that is why I feel like a lot of people get so confused when it comes to services because they're focusing on every single service when that's not what you should do because no one can offer every single service. And I think when you do try to do that, no one ends up buying from you because now you're just a generalist. Like people are going to be like, oh my gosh, she provides too many services. A person as in your target audience, isn't even going to know what you offer because there's just too much that you offer. Which is why I always suggest break it down, focus on being a very specific type of virtual assistant, niche down. That is why this is step one. Now you can get get it to be a bit easier. I know this wasn't easy enough. Now I'm going to teach you how to even make it more easier. You're actually going to use ChatGPT. I did not have ChatGPT when I first started, which was 4 years ago. But now I wish I did because things just got so much easier. What you're going to do is you're going to upload your resume into ChatGPT with this exact prompt. You can take a screenshot if you want. I'll post. Okay. Based off of my resume, which I have attached, list out 2 to 3 VA roles I would be best suited for, and at least 6 to 7 tasks. You can go up a notch and say 10 to 20 if you want, under each role. ChatGPT will tell you based off of your resume, which means based off of your skills that you have, the education you have done, the roles you worked in as, whether it's a part-time role or a full-time role. ChatGPT is going to tell you exactly what's best suited for you, what you're going to see success in based off of your resume. And from there, you can say, let's say ChatGPT said you'd be a great real estate VA. What you're going to do is just ask ChatGPT again, okay, what could or what does a real estate virtual assistant even offer? ChatGPT is going to give you a list. ChatGPT never disappoints. And this is what ChatGPT gave me. Literally a clear outline of exactly what I can offer, what I can do as a real estate virtual assistant. Chat has made it so much easy. So if you have a couple ideas, write them down, put them on your notes right now, and then after this masterclass, don't go right now. After this masterclass, I want you to ask chat and just see the potential services and tasks that fall under that role. Your step one just got so much easier. Which means let's move on to step two, packages and pricing. Many virtual assistants start their rates at $30 to $40 per hour. At least my students do. I haven't had a single student. I think the lowest my student has charged was on a freelancing platform, which they just didn't have a choice, but they really wanted to offer that service and just get some experience under their belt, was $20 an hour. Other than that, every single student of mine starts from at least $30. I myself started at 32, so I would never tell anybody to literally start less, especially now, 4 years later, when this industry is a $50 billion industry. No, you're not charging less than $30 to $40 an hour. Thank you. So your options are going to be, let's say you want to work 10 hours a week. You can actually price it at $300. If you want to work 20 hours a week, you could price it at $600. 40 hours a week could be $1,200. All of this, when you break it down hourly, the rate is $30 an hour. But your prices could look like this. So they're not going to be giving you $30 every hour, every single day. Like you're not going to be invoicing them. Instead, you're going to invoice them either weekly or monthly. That choice is yours. Another visual of a package, this is how it looks. You can have the exact same package for um every single package or every single, let's say, hour, and your basically hourly salary will be the same. It's just how much time you are putting into this business or into your client's business. So if someone needs to hire you for 10 hours a week only, they will be paying you $300 to do the exact same task as someone, let's say they have even a bigger company, a bigger business, and they're more busier than client one. They might need you for 40 hours, not just 10 hours, because that's not going to do anything for their business because they're so much busier than your first client. Your second client might hire you for 40 hours a week. They're not going to pay you $300. They're going to pay you $1,200 for the exact same task. So this is how you're going to build your packages. This is how you charge hourly for your packages. Again, if you want, some people even start by changing their packages so they're not offering the same services. They might be offering the same hours, but their tasks get more advanced. And that's how they stick with the 10-hour packages and $30 an hour. However, sorry, not $30 an hour. However, their tasks get more and more advanced, and they increase their hourly rate as well because their tasks are more advanced. So instead of having three of the same packages just with different hours, they have a beginner level, a medium level, and then a high ticket level, which I don't think you need to focus on because as a beginner, this is the best way to start hourly. It's simple, it's not complicated, and it's not going to confuse you. And that's the whole point for you not to be confused because you are a complete beginner. And I want you to actually start and see success in this role. And I don't want you to feel overwhelmed with all the different options because I feel like there's always going to be options. There's always going to be something to, grow into. But for the sake of just starting and seeing if this is going to work for you and to actually start, make getting the money, signing clients is to focus on simple things and where you're at. Don't focus on someone's step 20 when you haven't even taken step one. So this is what step one basically is. I mean, technically, this is step two. Because this is what can happen. All of these students, once again, did start, with basic general administrative, charging $30 an hour. But now my student, Melissa, she has transitioned into offering more advanced skills like DM sales management. This is literally a screenshot from her client application that's linked to her page on her website. So she pretty much, as you can see here, her pricing starts at $700 a month, and she offers one single service, which is DM management. How many hours she's putting in doesn't really say on the website, and I never really got to talk to her about it, but she's offering all the different skills but they are still in one specific role and it's advanced now. Another example is my student Harleen. She's a social media manager slash lead generation specialist. Her prices are anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 a month. That's just the starting. She has packages beyond that, and she focuses on social media because she really loves it and she fell in love and she's like, you know what, this is what I want to do. I don't want to do the back end admin task. I want to do the upfront, and that's exactly what she specialized in. Another student of mine, Kellen, she's a sales copywriter. She started off as a general virtual assistant and now she's a copywriter. This is a screenshot of her website. Do you guys see the pricing? Like, wow, I could not be more proud. She literally has multiple different offers, but each offer still is focused on what she offers, her niche, which is copywriting. She doesn't do basic tasks anymore. She does copywriting, and a half day working with her is around $1,500. A full day with her is $2,000. And she does have other packages on monthly retainers that are start from $1,800, $1,700. So this is what could, your journey lead to. But again, like I said, they didn't just wake up and step into this role. Same with me. I didn't just wake up and step into me running my virtual assistant agency. We all started from scratch. We all started where you are today. And that's what I don't want you to forget throughout this entire training because I know this industry can be overwhelming. There's just so much information. So many people are talking about their wins, but they all started from zero. So if you ever feel discouraged, let me tell you, we all come from the same exact path. Now, moving on to step three. Once you have your niche figured out and you have your prices, you price them exactly and you put them in packages. Step three is to build your portfolio. So, for those of you who don't know what a portfolio is, it's pretty much an upgraded version of a resume. It's 2026. Please get rid of your resumes and put them into portfolios. Here's a side-by-side visual. Like, this is great, or it was cute and great, but this is literally what people, especially business owners, are attracted to. They love this because, let me zoom in a bit. You can give a mini introduction, you can showcase your exact packages, and you can put pictures of your work and actually give them a visual of what you do. I don't know about you, but I'm a visual person. Like if I was in HR and I had to choose between signing two clients, no offense to Rika over here, but I would choose this person because just going through their portfolio and education and pretty much like, their work, their expertise would just be more settling to me than to just look at just bullet points and all that stuff. Because this is more easy on the eye and easy to digest. And I literally can see all the tools and systems they're familiar with, some client feedback, and their exact process. Like if I had to work with this person, if I were to hire this virtual assistant, I now get to see exactly what my next steps are going to be. And I'm going to see, okay, there's only 4 steps, which is going to be so much easy working with this person. And I see exactly the packages. The packages that we talked about in this master class are the exact ones here. It just makes it so much easier. You need to build a portfolio. I actually have this exact portfolio, which is beginner friendly, available for you. For those of you who do follow me on Instagram, you will know exactly how to get access to this. But I also will link it down in the description, maybe. Once you have your portfolio built, you are now moving on to step 4, which is finding clients. And I know the step everyone's been waiting for. And I am going to give it to you all. I'm literally going to share the top performing ways to find clients that has worked for me for 5 years and that has worked for every single student of mine. I have trained over 500 women globally who have seen success and found clients and are working full time as a virtual assistant. So the first way is freelancing platforms. Some examples are Upwork, Fiverr, Freelancer, people per hour, time etc, and fancy hats. There's just so many freelancing platforms that are absolutely free, and you can go online and apply to job boards. There are posting jobs every single day, and all these platforms are free. Once again, I'm going to share a little example on how to go about this. So let's use Upwork as an example. The first thing, when you go on Google and type in Upwork, this is what's going to come up. There's two types of people that go on Upwork. Number one, I'm a client hiring for a project. Number two, freelancer looking for work. Obviously, you are the freelancer, right? You're looking for work. So the next step you're going to do after you click I'm a freelancer and sign up is create a profile for yourself. The best way to go about this is to look at already existing virtual assistant accounts. I have shared a couple examples here. You want to look at exactly how they have their portfolio set up, what are they including, how they basically have everything there. Do not copy them, just use it as inspiration. Once you have that set up, the next step is to actually finding clients and applying. This is what their job board looks like. Once you type in virtual assistant as the role you're applying to work for, work in as, this is what's going to pop up. A pro tip here I will give you is to log in every single day and apply to jobs every single day. That is the only way to win. Not just on Upwork, but multiple different platforms. You want to apply by sending your portfolio, which you will only need to build once. Now, if you are someone who already does this on, like, let's say Indeed, you're currently applying for hundreds of jobs every single day, this is probably something you should add onto that routine and apply every single day. And I can guarantee you, unlike other jobs on Indeed, you will hear back for these job boards a lot quicker because everybody needs a virtual assistant right now. Trust me, right now is the best time. So get on these platforms and start applying. Now, the second way to find clients is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is so powerful. If you didn't know, LinkedIn actually has a job board section, which is very similar to Indeed. You can apply to jobs directly. There's so many remote jobs too. But the way I like to use LinkedIn is to create a profile and post content. You can see an example here, the type of content I post. I use this to directly connect with founders, connect with business owners I want to work with. That has been working for me a lot faster because the competition on not just LinkedIn, but all those other platforms are also very, very high. In order for me to stand out, I would rather connect with founders directly than to apply and have my resume or portfolio just hide and blend in with all the other freelancers that are also applying. So double down on not just applying, but also connecting and creating content, as in promoting yourself on LinkedIn. Post on LinkedIn. Another way is Facebook groups. Let's say, for example, you're starting out as a virtual assistant for wedding photographers. Why did I choose wedding photographers? Because that was my first role. I started my virtual assistant journey as a general VA for wedding photographers. So if I was starting over all again, this is what I would do. I would join Facebook groups that had a bunch of wedding photographers, aka my potential clients, aka the clients I am trying to target and work with, and I want them to pay me. I have to get in front of them. Now, a couple things to keep in mind when you are on Facebook groups to make sure you read their rules. Every group has rules. There's groups that don't want any marketing, any promotional type of content. So if you post your portfolio or you post a marketing slash promotional post, you will get kicked out. So you want to read the rules. There's so many groups that don't want anyone else. They only want photographers. So if you're not a photographer, they won't allow you in. Or if you do sneak in, they'll just kick you out. So you want to make sure that you read the rules and you are joining groups that let you make promotional content because that's exactly what you're going to do in these Facebook groups. And also lets you be a non-photographer or whatever your target audience is. So let's say real estate agents. They allow non-real estate agents to also join the group. I love Facebook groups. My students have seen great success with Facebook groups. Facebook groups are very, very powerful and they have been working for a lot of my students. And one of my students said it's because it feels like they're in the same group and it just makes them trust you a lot more faster than if you just directly message them from a random account, a random private account. So get on Facebook, join groups that have your potential clients. Another way is Instagram. I actually landed my first client on Instagram. That is why I love Instagram, and that is why I'll say you are missing out if you're not on Instagram looking for clients. Now, sticking with the same example, wedding photographers. If wedding photographers are your clients, what you're going to do is go onto Instagram, type in wedding photographer, and you will see all the wedding photographer accounts that are available for you to follow and connect with. You can engage with their content, leave comments, maybe send them a DM if you want. And some of them, as you can see, have their email linked to it. What you can actually do is send them a cold email, which is called a pitch email, which you're gonna have to create. Use ChatGPT to create it. AI is making all of this so much easier for you. I wish I had AI back in my day. I probably would have signed clients so much faster. You can create a pitch email. You can ask ChatGPT to create a pitch email to promote your services as the virtual assistant, and you can link your portfolio so they can have a look and hire you. Cold outreach is working, will always work. Now, what I did was I took my time to build a connection with them and then pitched my services. I didn't just send them a cold DM. So you kind of have to be super strategic and see what works and the only way you're gonna know what works is by doing both. You want to try cold outreach, but you also want to try to take that long route and connect with them and kind of just build that connection before you pitch and see what is working for you so you can double down on that way. Another way is threads. You guys, threads is blowing up right now. The amount of student messages I get that said, oh my God, Sharon, I landed my first client on threads blows my mind. Even for me inside my business, I have been able to get clients on threads like a lot more recently, and I love it so much because it's so much easier. Here's an example of business owners that are looking for virtual assistants post. They directly post on threads where you as a VA can engage with it and apply directly. Some of them actually post a link to where you can apply, where you can send your portfolio. They either give you an email address to send your portfolio and they'll have a look. Threads is booming right now and you want to be on threads. Another way is subcontract. Now, this is a little different than any other way I have mentioned, but I love it so much. So let's talk about what does it mean when you subcontract. So a subcontract is when you work with other freelancers or agencies and help them with their client work. Now, I have subcontracted a lot of virtual assistants, mainly for the tasks that A, take so much of my time and B, I just don't want to do, like general administrative tasks. I never really fully enjoyed because my skill sets are very much in the social media side of it, and I don't want to do administrative tasks. So I've hired, aka subcontracted, another freelancer virtual assistant to do the admin work for my clients. I hire my clients, but I don't do their work. I don't do their admin work. I let my VA that I hired do their admin work. I actually also have subcontracted and worked with freelancers to do a lot of their work. The first contract I got was to schedule and post content. So this social media manager had over 10 clients that she was working with, and scheduling and posting content for all her clients was a task that was so consuming, that was so time consuming, and just a lot for her. So she hired me to do just that for multiple different clients, but just that one task, which was scheduling and posting content. And she paid me $2,500 a month or $2,400. This was the first invoice that I got for scheduling and posting content for around 10 accounts, which in my mind, I was like, holy, like, damn, I love this. Being a virtual assistant is basically supporting a business owner, a business. What that business is, doesn't matter. You can support a business. You are going to bring support onto a business owner. Now, the last way, which in my personal opinion is probably the number one way, and a lot of people, a lot of new virtual assistants neglect, is building a personal brand online. What does that mean? It simply just means having a social media presence, starting a business account on social media. Now, so let's say if I was the virtual assistant you wanted to work for as a subcontract virtual assistant and you messaged me from your private account, I'm sorry, but I'm going to leave you on red. I don't know you. I don't know what type of virtual assistant, or even if you are a virtual assistant, because I don't see a business account. I don't see an account that's open for me to look at. When you look at my account, you can see I'm a virtual assistant coach and agency owner. Same with all the wedding photographer accounts that I showed you. You can see their work. You can see they're a wedding photographer. They're a legit business. Like for your own wedding, if you were getting married and you wanted to hire a wedding photographer, who would you hire? A wedding photographer that has an actual account that has their work, is saying they're a wedding photographer, or someone who messaged you from a private account. You're probably going to ignore person B and go and look at person A's account and probably hire them. That's the same for a virtual assistant. Now, the best way to do this is obviously start business page as a virtual assistant. Here's the breakdown of how you're going to do this. Number one, you're going to have a high quality profile picture. You're going to have your name with your niche and title, just like I have, Charn / virtual assistant coach. Category. For me, It's education. As you can see, the light shaded gray section over here, it says education. For you, it could be freelancer or virtual assistant. You're going to have your bio. You're going to have link for people to click, whether to book a call with you or fill out an application. You're also going to have a CTA, which is call to action, which kind of just means directing them to your link. Now, your bio. Instagram literally only gives you 150 characters to write the most important parts of your profile. So what you want to do is be direct. Here's my exact template that I like to use. I help exactly who, your ideal client, do X, exactly what. In order to achieve X, again, exactly what. Keep it super simple. You want to be direct, right? End it with a CTA, call to action, something like apply to work with me, link in bio. It is that simple. This is all you need to do to start a business page. Post content. You can post, the first post could be an introduction and could be the same picture that you're using on your profile and literally just do an introduction. That one post is enough. It's so much better than messaging people from your personal account. Trust me, that's not what you want to do. Now, moving on to step 6. I know you think finding clients is the most important step, but there's another step that is just as important because finding clients is one thing. There's a few things you still need to do. You are starting a business, you are going to be self-employed. So all of the nitty-gritty back-end stuff you got to do. It's your job to do. For example, registering your business, setting up a business account, keeping track of your income to file taxes, having a business email, a name for your business, writing and drafting your virtual assistant contract, just knowing what to put in it. And the most important thing, payment processor. Because obviously, when you work with clients, you want to get paid. And how are you going to get paid? You got to figure that out on your own. And of course, there's so many other systems and platforms and websites you just got to familiarize yourself to do the work. Doing the virtual assistant work, I know you know how to do. Like sending out emails, you know how to do. But how do you deliver that online is something you got to figure out. You just cannot skip these. This is one thing that you just have to do, right? Like there's no ifs and buts around it. But trust me, it is so much more easier than you think. Like it's so easy. One free YouTube video can teach you how to do all of this. Now, a little example, let's say you want to work as a social media virtual assistant. Now, there are certain things, like I was saying, platforms you just need to know. Like, for example, if you are someone who wants to post and schedule content, you're going to have to know what third-party platform you could use to do that, to deliver the posting and scheduling, right? For example, Panelly, that's a great one. If you are someone who wants to create content, not just for your clients, but also for your business, like I said, you're going to have to create that Instagram page and you're going to have to post. You need to know where can you create the content. The best platform for this, in my personal opinion, is Canva. If you want to edit videos, you want to post reels, where are you going to edit it? Instagram app, of course, or there's another third-party video editing platform called CapCut. A lot of business owners are using this, right? If this is a service you want to provide, you want to help business owners edit their videos, you're going to have to learn CapCut, especially if they are already using CapCut, which a lot of them already are. Hashtag research and sharing passwords. Now, this isn't just for social media. Let's say you're a general virtual assistant and one of your tasks is to manage someone's inbox. You think they're just going to give you their password? No, they're not just going to hand their password over to you and just text you their password. There's certain third-party platforms that you need to know in order to get their password. LastPass allows person A to give person B their access to their account, to their, whether that's their Gmail, Instagram, TikTok, without actually letting you know what their password is. These third-party platforms also helps them protect their privacy as well. So this is what I meant when I said there's so many things you have to know, you have to figure out when you are starting a virtual assistant. Now you probably know there's tons of opportunities for you, right? Like the virtual assistant role, there's just so many opportunities for you. And I know how you're feeling right now. You know the steps. You're probably flooding with ideas and all these great things of like, who do you want to work with? What role you could potentially see yourself doing, right? You have an idea of the task to provide because you know, okay, I'm going to use ChatGPT, I'm going to post my resume and get all the skills that I can potentially offer, and you know exactly how to reach out to clients, how to get these jobs. Like it's amazing. Like it's so great right now and you're like, "Oh my God, I can do this because this is exactly what I was waiting for. I needed this information." And I couldn't be more happy for you. But not to be that person, but there's just things you need to know how to do. You just cannot skip all of this. For example, you need to now build your portfolio. You need to know exactly what to post in it that's going to help you stand out and actually get hired. Because, like I said, there's tons of competition on every single freelancing platform, LinkedIn, social media. There's so many virtual assistants that are going to apply and work with clients just like you. There's also tools you're going to have to learn. There's apps you're going to have to know how to register your business, the type of content to post on social media, what to say when you get a discovery call or you get someone that says, "Yes, I want to work with you." What are you going to say to them? What contract are you sending to them? What invoice are you sending? How are you getting paid? And of course, how to manage client work. You probably know how to do the client work, but now you're like, okay, how am I going to deliver the work? That's where a lot of virtual assistants get stuck with. Here is exactly how this is going to go for a lot of you. 50% of you, already half of you, will dive headfirst with all the motivation and all the excitement, and not to forget the exact step-by-step roadmap because I literally just poured gold into you. 50% of you will go ahead and take that action, but only 10% of you will actually move forward because they have the time to look for answers and do the research and go online and set up your profile on all the platforms that I mentioned and daily apply. Go and join Facebook groups, make your Instagram account, create the content and learn how to create content, watch free YouTube videos. And I'm not saying the 90% of you don't have it in you or cannot do that, but there's one big factor: time. Not every one of you can come home from your 9 to 5 job and jump right into this, dive right into building your virtual assistant business because a lot of you might be a mom, you might be a wife, you have other responsibilities when you come home. You have to cook dinner because you live alone. All of these play a factor into starting and building a virtual assistant business, and it sucks, but that's just the reality. I know when I first started, I was a paralegal and I was a full-time university student. So when I came home from my paralegal job, I had to study. Even the 10% that actually do have the time, only 2% actually carry out after multiple road bumps and the whole trial and error phase because a lot of us don't like to constantly fail, don't like the constant road bumps because we want to see success and we want to see it fast because we're impatient, right? Again, it comes back to time because if we are going to spend time into doing something, we want it to work and we want to see fast results, especially if it's a side hustle. Like I know a lot of you, and like 98% of you are starting this side hustle because you want to make extra cash and you want to make it now, not in 6 months, right now. And that's exactly what I want for you because when I first signed my first client in 2 weeks, that's the only reason I kept going because I saw the success, I saw the result, and I was like, you know what? This can work and I'm going to continue to do it. If I didn't land my first client that fast, I probably would have given up. That's what I don't want for you. A lot of my students saw the success because they had a exact roadmap to follow. If they're going to put in their energy, they wanted to see results. And that is why I am going to introduce the A to Z new era. If you don't know The AZB is my signature course that I built from scratch. Now, I know there's so many courses out there, and courses in general, especially online, just have a sour taste, puts a sour taste into people's mouth. But I want to let you know why this isn't a regular, ordinary course. Well, first of all, look at the screenshot that I shared. There's over 50 self-paced video trainings. And if you want to know how these video trainings look like, you attended one. This masterclass. All those video trainings are very, very similar to this master. You have me in the corner sharing slides and walking you through every step, literally from finding your niche, how to work with clients, what to post, how to do it all. There's 50 trainings already done for you templates like portfolios, your website, story prompts, invoice, written contract, a proposal, welcome packages to send to your clients, step-by-step guides. I have ready to post content for the first 30 days. Like you literally don't need to do anything. The last thing I wanted this course do was for you to sit there, watch the modules, and feel like, oh my God, now I got to build on my own. That's not what I wanted. I wanted it to be ready for you to start immediately, take that action. That is what the AZB does. Now I have faceless reels for you to post. Like you don't even have to sit there, record and film reels to post. You can use reels that are faceless. I've shared third-party platforms for you to download the reels and start posting. Again, the key word here is for you to immediately start. That's what A makes my course different. And the second thing is that I built this from scratch. I didn't just buy this course from someone and now I'm selling it. No, this has my 5 years of experience, expertise, and skills. I built my own virtual assistant business from scratch. I've helped over 500 women build their own virtual assistant from scratch. So everything that's inside this course has been done 500 times and it's worked 500 times. That is why I am so confident in this course. And a lot of people are charging tens of thousands of dollars for their course, literally, which is ridiculous because I don't think any course should be priced at that. Even this course, the total value is $2,000, which to me, that's still so high. And I'm like, if I was told this price when I first started, I probably would have been like, no, thank you, because I just wasn't in a position to spend $2,000, which is why for you all today, the price is $397. When my team saw this slide, they're like, did you accidentally post this? Like, are you sure this is the slide for the masterclass? And I'm like, yeah. They called me ridiculous, but I'm like, you guys don't get it. And it's not for you to get. This is my business. I know my mission. I know I want to support more and more women. And the best way to do this is to make my course accessible. And that's the only word, accessible. And we have payment plans that go as low as $22 a month. Like if you paid $22 today, this entire course could be yours. Call me crazy if you want, because I know I've lost it. If you guys want more information and you want the link, it's down below in the description. And you can get all the information and the link to submit your payment because it starts from you. I'm going to tell you this one time only. Like it literally starts from you. Yes, I just gave you all the information, but if you don't take the action, nothing's going to happen. Even with the course, yes, you can make the payment. You can pay $22 today, and if you don't do anything about it, don't do anything after it, you're still not going to see results, right? Like if you don't say yes to yourself today and get the entire roadmap, that's going to be on you. Being a virtual assistant is so much more than just getting the client and making extra income. Yes, that's what you want right now, but I know the bigger picture is to bring freedom, get freedom back into your life. This one little side hustle can turn into a multiple six-figure company. That's what happened to me. I was just an ordinary girl. So if I can do this, you can do this. And it all starts from you taking that step today and saying yes to yourself and joining the AZB family. There's tons of successful VAs that have gone through this program. It has worked. Again, if you want more information, check the description below. The link is there to get more information on exactly what topics are covered and what you will get. With that being said, today's masterclass is coming to an end, and I cannot wait to see you all inside the AZB course. I'll talk to you later.